And a pleasant good evening to all of you watching us here on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel and WIBW News on Facebook. This is a Kansas City Chiefs instant reaction with the 580 Sports Talk crew. I'm Dan Lucero, Brendan Dworzinski sharing the top of the screen with me, Spencer Dupuis down below, with you to recap a loss that may have doomed the Chiefs to missing the postseason for the first time in the Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid era. The Chiefs fall to the Houston Texans 20-10 at Arrowhead Stadium tonight on Sunday Night Football. Reminder, if you like content like this, if you like hanging out with us after Chiefs games or weekdays from 3 to 6 on these video channels, just go like the Facebook page. That's WIBW News. Subscribe to the YouTube channel 580 Sports Talk. Slam those like and subscribe buttons, and you'll get all of our great video content coming right your way, including these reactions following every Chiefs game. Start with our opening thoughts, and even though this has been the team that we have watched all season long, I don't think we saw anything that was a radical departure from what we've seen from the Chiefs this season, both good and bad. It's still hard to square that these are the Kansas City Chiefs, that the team that seemed to always have the answer, always have the response, always make the big play, always have the costly mistake made by the other team. That is what has been the exact opposite. That is what has doomed an otherwise talented football team to this 6-7 record. I believe on the NBC broadcast, I may have misheard, but I believe that the playoff odds for the Chiefs have now been cited at 16%. There is no reason at all that that this group should have those kinds of playoff odds, should be under 500 at this stage of the season, other than the inverse of everything we have known about this dynastic Chiefs run is true this year. They don't make the big play. They do make the big mistake. They do not get the big third down stop. They do not have the fourth quarter rally in them. And it's such a radical departure that it is still kind of stunning to sit and watch those games. And I think what sums it up, and this may not have been conscious from Mike Tirico on the NBC broadcast, but Patrick Mahomes is trotting out on the field with 22 seconds left in a 2-score game, and the Chiefs are out of timeouts. And Mike Tirico says, well, barring a Chiefs comeback here, like in the back of his mind, you're still thinking, man, it's the Chiefs. They're going to figure something out. And I think we've been sitting here all season long. They're the Chiefs. They'll figure it out. They'll clean it up. They'll get it together. They'll fix it. They'll find a way. And they always have. And this year, they never do. And that's why they're probably at this point, not only is the AFC West streak over at 8 years, they are probably at this point looking at a January spent on their couches or in Cabo. That's my opening remark. Brendan Dworzinski, opening reaction to this one.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts, just kind of, perspective-wise for this Chiefs team. Number one, and I just saw this on ESPN with SportsCenter Scott Van Pelt a moment ago. This is the latest that the Chiefs have been under 500 under Andy Reid. And I'm sorry, my voice has gone a little bit from some Washburn hoops this weekend.
Good basketball games on Saturday, huh? Yeah.
Hell of a day of games on Saturday. But this is the latest the Chiefs have been under 500 under Andy Reid. So since 2013. That's one thing. Here's the second one. And this team is playing decent football right now. They won on Sunday, but this tells you where the Chiefs are right now. Mike Tirico said this right at the end of the Sunday Night Football broadcast. The Kansas City Chiefs have the same record as the Miami Dolphins. Take that into consideration. Think about what Miami has been through. Think of who Miami's quarterback has been and the season from hell that he has had as his brain continues to turn into the most disgusting form of tapioca pudding you have ever seen, and all the bad vibes around that team. And you know what? They have the same record, and that Miami team is playing better than the Chiefs are right now. That's where this team is. I mean, it's not only that, Dan, because you mentioned this team should not be in this position. They should not be out of the playoff hunt for all intents and purposes. They should not be 6-7. They should not be this hapless, but they are. And part of that is, the expectations that you set before the season. It is hard to dump those, especially for a team that had Super Bowl aspirations. But to me, we now have a combination of two things, specifically with the offensive side of the ball, that I've been hammering on, at least one of them, for most of the season. They're just not enough good players on the offense. That's the biggest thing this comes down to. And that's why a drop by Rashee Rice late and the complete and utter clown show that was that Travis Kelce drop into an interception late. That's what makes it so much more difficult. Like, those are the guys who should be contributing. Those are the guys that should be making plays when no one else can. And they can't even come up in the clutch. And you already have enough other guys who just aren't anything special. They aren't good. The offensive line is such a mash unit. That's like its own deal at this point. The other part of this too, you mentioned it, Dan, the team always makes the right decision. They always seem to make the right move. The Chiefs today had 3 plays on a 3rd or 4th down in which they ran the ball. They converted into a first down, all 3 of them. They didn't run the ball on 4th and 1 from their own 31-yard line. And you threw the ball to Rashee Rice, who was guarded by Derek Stingley, gets knocked down. The Texans end up scoring a touchdown on that drive. Game over, probably season over. Of all of the times to go away from literally the most efficient and effective short yardage player in the NFL this season, Kareem Hunt, that situation, it's a mixture of the ideas are stale from the coaching staff. The players just aren't good enough, generally speaking. And now you're just throwing crap at the wall and hoping it sticks. That's not a recipe that's going to win you many games. It's not a recipe at this point that's going to get the Chiefs into the postseason.
We're going to come back to that 4th down play call in particular in just a little bit. Spencer Dupuis, want to hear from you. Your opening thoughts tonight.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this one probably for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I think it just kind of now fully comes to my mind. Things go great for a long time in a lot of ways. Things are great. Fads in the NFL, right? We had the Wildcat fad from like 2007 to 2012. We had like the first running quarterback fad, right? Where it was a few years. Robert Griffin III was great in his first year, and then people figured out his offense. I think the NFL has just figured out these Chiefs teams. Last year, they were so great at these one-score games. They're so great at winning these one-score games. Well, they've been figured out. They couldn't win these one-score games, and they're just piece by piece, they're figuring out, well, we can't do what we've done for the last 8 years that have given us what we've done. And I think that comes back to the offensive playbook becoming very predictable. There were times where they ran multiple screens, and I'm like, I don't understand.
All right, let's get into the game and let's go back to the 4th down play call, because that really did decide the football game. The Chiefs have a 4th and 1 at their own 31. The game is tied at 10. The Chiefs defense is on fire in the second half. This was probably as good as the Chiefs defense has been, certainly in the last month or two, as it comes to bringing pressure and disrupting the timing of an opposing offense. Chris Jones, unbelievable. Best game of the season, I thought, from him. Yeah. He took it personally tonight and played really great football. The Chiefs defense is on fire. Houston can't do anything. They can't move the ball. They can't get a first down. And the game is tied at 10, 4th and 1 from the 31. And I'm thinking on the couch, yeah, go for it here. Go for it here. Because, as you pointed out, Brendan Dworzinski, no team in the NFL is better at running the ball in 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 than the Kansas City Chiefs. They have executed that play beautifully all season long. They give you a lot of different looks, but it's usually a run to Kareem Hunt, and he churns those legs and lowers those shoulders. He gets behind the offensive line. He picks up that yard. He picks up that 3 feet, and the drive continues. They put out a 5 wide receiver set, and they motioned into the backfield Hollywood Brown, who I do not believe, it'd be one thing if it's Xavier Worthy, right? They've handed the ball off to Xavier Worthy before. I've even seen him, Rashee Rice is taking Wildcat snaps, right? There's at least a running threat there. They motioned Hollywood friggin' Brown into the backfield on 4th and 1. And what that signals, you may as well, if you're Andy Reid, hold up a big neon sign on the sideline that says pass. And you know what that does? That gives Will Anderson a head start. Will Anderson ate Jalen Moore's lunch all night from his position, coming off of right tackle. I actually thought, I didn't think the offensive line play for the Chiefs was really that much of the story tonight, other than Anderson dominating more, but Anderson's dominated better right tackles than
A
that
lot
all
of
season.
players.
Honest to God, I thought Esapole might have made himself a little money tonight. Like, that was as good a performance as you could have dreamed of when he had to come in after the very first play of the game and Wanya Morris got hurt at left tackle. So I did not think this game was necessarily defined by the Texans defensive line the way I was worried if the Chiefs lost it was going to be. No, this game was defined by that fourth down decision. You go for it on 4th and 1, and you don't even give, like, even if you did call a pass play, put Hunt in the backfield. Make the other team think at least, oh, yeah, we're going bread and butter here on 4th and 1. We're doing the thing we do better than anybody else does it. Try and stop us. They couldn't even do that. It was an utterly baffling play call. The pressure broke the play down. Mahomes made an accurate throw. It was defended well by one of the best defensive backs in the league, Derek Stingley. Then you don't get the stop. You don't get a crucial 3rd and long stop. The defense all of a sudden back on their heels playing against the short field. They give up the go-ahead touchdown. The Chiefs have to go it on 4th and 4 on the next drive, and Rashee Rice drops the ball. One of, depending on who you listen to, 9 or 10 dropped passes for the Kansas City Chiefs in this game, including, as you mentioned, Brendan, the Kelsey drop into the Azeez Al-Shaair interception that all but ended the football game. That's been a problem for the Chiefs in the past, and they had enough talent to overcome it. Like, this has never been a team other than the very early stages, also known as the stages where Patrick Mahomes was on a rookie deal. This has never been a team that sheerly out-talented everybody by sheer force of will. The last 3 years, that has not been the case. They did not win Super Bowls because they had the most talent. They won Super Bowls because they had the best player, Mahomes, and they made the fewest mistakes. At the end of the day, they were able to overcome the mistakes that they made. They had enough talent to overcome mistakes, and they made fewer than their opponents in the biggest moments. Those things no longer true about the Kansas City Chiefs, and we saw it in very, very stark relief. Those 2 4th downs, I think the results of those 4th downs define this game and kind of define this season for the Chiefs.
The Chiefs had 17 plays in this game that were either on 3rd or 4th down. 14 of them were passes, and those 14 passes on 3rd or 4th down turned into a 1st down 4 times. With that guy at quarterback, with this guy as your play caller, all those things. 4 first down on 14 passes on 3rd or 4th down. I want to point out to something that our guy GT Goober said in the YouTube comments a few moments ago. See if I can go back and find it here. It says, unfortunately, Andy is hitting his 2010-2012 Eagles arc. Do you guys know the name Juan Castillo? Does that ring a bell to you?
Yeah, he was the defensive coordinator, and then he brought him back to be the offensive coordinator.
Other way around. He was the offensive line
coach.
Bad. He was the Eagles offensive line coach. He had never coached anything defense at all in either college or the NFL. He had been a high school defensive line coach at one point, had never coached defense in the NFL. And from O-line coach, Andy Reid moved him to DC in the final years of his time in Philadelphia. Why am I bringing this up? Because going from things that have worked but might be stale to completely off the wall, what the hell are you doing? We're seeing a little bit more of that. Again, 4th and 1. Guys, this has worked all season. There is one play in the NFL that has been more effective this year than the tush push. It is inside handoff, Kareem Hunt, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. And they didn't do it. They went with this cockamamie 5-wide motion Hollywood Brown in the backfield. What is this? What is this?
Garbage.
And I'm not trying to say it's exactly the same thing, but man, it has gone from being so stale that it's predictable, like Spencer said, to becoming so off the wall kooky like that. Like, how is your offense even prepared for this? Are you practicing Hollywood Brown in the backfield?
Yeah, I just don't think that this is an offense that has much identity beyond Patrick figure it out. And there's no, again, other than 3rd or 4th and 1, there is no legitimate run threat that teams have to exploit. There's no juice in the running game whatsoever. One time it did look like Isaiah Pacheco was going to break a big run, and then he ran smack into Travis Kelce. Like I don't like directly, like if he busts that outside, it's like 15, 20 yards, and he runs right up the back of Travis Kelce. Like, is he blind? Like, do we know? Does Isaiah Pacheco have like, is he nearsighted? Like, what's his deal? Like, what's his whole thing? His vision is so bad. So they can't run the ball. They don't have a running threat that makes you as a defense respect that aspect of offense. So it's all, we're pinning our ears back, we're coming after Pat, and we're not going to let him run anymore either. We're going to mush rush our defensive tackles because we're not going to let him run the ball, step up. And Mahomes, on a knee that was obviously bothering him, that's becoming kind of a story too, is that Mahomes had a heat wrap on his knee. He's been listed on the injury report. I don't think he could get enough on that second interception he threw to Hollywood Brown. Maybe that was a route miscommunication, but that just looked like an underthrow that maybe he didn't have quite enough on that, because he's not driving off the leg as he's scrambling as effectively as he might normally be capable of. But that's becoming a storyline. And even despite that, Mahomes was once again the best runner of the football that the Chiefs had. But in those third down situations, when they know the Chiefs have to throw, in those fourth down situations, defenses can key on it, and they've got it dialed in. And the end result is a Chiefs offense that I would argue it still feels less than the sum of its parts, even though I think it's the worst running back room in the league, and they're down 3 starters on the offensive line, and they've got Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster looking 2 exits past washed this season, and Noah Gray's out there on a 4-year deal with hands of stone. What are they paying him for? That's another thing. And there's a longer discussion we had here. There's a lot of money on the field that isn't doing jack or you know what else. There's a lot of money on the field right now for the Chiefs.
What I'm saying,
flat out not contributing. Guys on multi-year deals. Mike Dana, nothing. Noah Gray, nothing. Jawan Taylor, nothing. Not playing obviously because he's hurt. That's tough. That makes it even harder to sustain the success that you're trying to sustain. It's already an uphill climb for a team that's been to 7 straight AFC Championship games, and that doesn't make it any easier on you when the guys you've chosen to give a little chunk of change to aren't giving you anything. So that's a long haul story. That's more of a long-term story than a short-term story. Go ahead, Spencer.
I know it's hard to compare because obviously when you look back at 2008 for Brady, he tore his ACL, he was out. But this is kind of giving me like 2009, 2010 Patriots vibes right now, where it's like they just tried to get to the playoffs and then they went 0-2 combined those 2 years. Like they were able to make the playoffs. You go down, and then
I think it's the old. I think of the line. I think it's the movie Cocktail. Tom Cruise is in, and his character says everything ends badly, otherwise it wouldn't end. And if we are indeed at the end of what has been a 7-year dynastic run that doesn't have a lot of equal in the history, certainly of the modern NFL, it's not ending well. Yeah, that is for sure. I feel like this is a team that I expected that if they were going to go out, they'd go out on their shield. And I don't see that. Right now, I see a team, they're an old veteran pitcher who's reaching back in the tank for that old fastball, and it's only 95 and it's not 100 miles an hour anymore. They just don't have that something extra, that intrinsic clutch, intangible, whatever you want to call it, that was such a big part of why they were able to continue to be successful at the level that they were successful at. This team does not, for whatever reason. And you can point the finger at Andy Reid. You can point the finger at roster construction. You can point the finger at injuries. You can point the finger at Mahomes. I don't think he was all that much to blame tonight. Got 10 drop passes. He was 14 to 33. 10 of those are drops, man. What are you going to do? You can point the finger in whatever direction you want, but you get to the same conclusion that there is a little something extra that you have to win a championship in the National Football League. And the Chiefs have had that something extra for the last 7 years. And this year they don't have it. And with their playoff odds now down to 16%, not only they can not false step the rest of the way, they absolutely have to win out. But even at 10-7, and a lot of years, 10-7 would get you into the playoffs. This isn't going to be one of them, the way that the AFC is shaking out. There are too many non-competitive teams in the league, and too many teams that have fattened up by feasting on those non-competitive teams. 10-7 is not going to do it. So that's where the Chiefs find themselves. Let's get to a final thought here. We've been going long, and it's been a lot of me, so I want to give you guys a chance to lay out a bit. Spencer, we'll start with you. Just a final thought or one thing other that's sticking in your craw from this Chiefs loss tonight.
It's been a crappy day as a Spencer Dupuis sports fan. I'll tell you that. It's been tough from our bets from the show Friday to my Commanders to the Chiefs dynastic run just blowing up, and I don't know. I guess I can't go cover the Chiefs on site anymore because I'm their bad luck, right?
All right.
I don't have anything else to say about it.
Brandon, give me a final thought here.
Just to kind of sum up what I was mentioning earlier, nothing about the defense today. Defense did just fine. They had a great game overall. This offense does not have enough good players. The thoughts are stale. So when the good players, Mahomes, Rice, to a degree, Travis Kelce, make a mistake, it amplifies it and makes it feel so much worse. And boy, there was a whole lot of worse tonight.
Yeah, just really, you could I think point to this game and say this was kind of the capstone. Everything that's gone wrong for the Chiefs this year. You had penalties. That was a bogus third down pass interference hold they called on Noel Williams that extended the first Texans touchdown drive. But a penalty is a penalty. You can't get caught in a situation where they can throw the flag on you. And that's happened way too often for the Chiefs. Turnovers have happened way too often. Drop passes have happened way too often. Baffling play calling. Special teams, not good enough. Another doink for Harrison Butker. How much different does that game look if the Chiefs are only down a touchdown at halftime instead of being down 2 scores? Another poor kick for Harrison Butker having his worst season. The wheels of this championship machine have started to loosen. And with 4 games remaining, the Chiefs are now in a position where not only do they not control their own destiny, they're going to need a hell of a lot of help if they want to even be in position to try and sustain their playoff streak, their AFC Championship game streak. One streak that died tonight, the streak of 8 consecutive AFC West championships. That is now mathematically impossible for the Chiefs. They are 5.5 games back virtually of the Broncos with 4 games to play. You don't need me to do that math for you. So that's done, and the playoff streak may be done as well. The odds are down to, depending on where you look, they're in the teens following tonight's 20-10 loss. First multi-score loss of the season for the Chiefs. Took this long to get one of those, but that is cold comfort, I am sure. We'll have a lot more to say about this game on tomorrow's edition of 580 Sports Talk, along with the rest of our thoughts from the sports weekend. Tomorrow's a day where I feel like we can almost do twice the length of show, not only recapping this Chiefs loss, going over those 4th down decisions and those other gaffes that cost the Chiefs this game, but also KU wins the border war. Darren Peterson returns for the Jayhawks. K-State basketball suffering a crisis of confidence as they lose their 4th in a row, and PJ Haggerty's struggles continue. K-State football declines a bowl bid. We'll talk about that. They had a lot of company. Even Kansas said no to going to a bowl at 5-7. I like Brendan's commentary on this side. It's very funny to me. It's cracking me up. Anyhow,
KU was turning down more practice time. Are you kidding me? That we'll save it for tomorrow. We'll save it for tomorrow.
No bowl bid for either of the Sunflower Showdown teams. College football playoff obviously will spark a lot of discussion along with the rest of Week 14 in the National Football League. We'll have it all covered tomorrow on the program. 580 Sports Talk, 3 to 6 p.m. Central Time on 580 WIBW FM 104.9 Topeka, 580WIBW.com, and these very same video channels. So again, if you happened across this video tonight, liked what you heard, like the Facebook page WIBW News, subscribe to the YouTube channel 580 Sports Talk. We'll be back at you tomorrow from 3 until 6. So for Brendan Rosinski and Spencer Dupuis, I'm Dan Lucero saying good night from our respective rec room/basements. Tomorrow can't help but be better. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out on this Kansas City Chiefs Instant Reaction.